What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath2501 here, continuing on with these collab videos. This is actually turning out pretty good. Alright, as you can probably hear. Yeah, we've got the guys. Rocker, Rock God, Zero,
Yo,
Carter, everybody here.
And
Yay,
me.
everyone.
yeah, everybody and Carter.
Yeah, Thane Walker. Okay,
Way to go, leaving me out.
that's mean, dude.
Walker,
That's a little
otherwise known as
mean.
Captain Walker.
Okay, alright, so let's start this. This is Lifelike by D.N. Bray or Dunbray. Okay, I've done some of their stuff before. So let's see how this turns out and go. Okay, that's already creepy. I hate fucking dolls. I really fucking hate dolls.
I think they were like manicuring.
I don't care what they're called. I don't care. I hate them.
Follow my heart. Alright.
The following events are derived from multiple sources: first-hand accounts, eyewitness statements, police records, physical evidence, and journals pieced together by investigative experts. Due to the nature of the incidents, the resulting crimes, and the psychological condition of the survivors, be assured that anything you hear that borders on the supernatural has been taken into account with the utmost consideration. Warning:
Good.
this video may disturb you.
Okay.
June 2016. James
Oh,
Young,
that,
Emily
I'm scared
Ames,
already.
Marcus Drake, and Trisha George drove down to the old firehouse just outside the city limits of their main home. James's aunt gave the group permission to check out the building. Since her husband passed away, the firehouse had been in her possession, which she rented out to a family for storage.
Huh.
But after a few decades of prompt payment, the money suddenly stopped. In fact, all word from the family ceased,
Oh, yeah, that sounds like
That
that's
was almost 3 years
That's a
ago
great
now.
sign.
and everything in storage remained untouched.
Hey, they're
So
driving
when
on
James
the,
mentioned
they
he
were
was looking
driving
for
on the
props
wrong
for a
side of the
university
road.
film project about a struggling
Maybe they're in
private
England.
detective,
else.
she told
This is
him to go
British,
right ahead
Britain.
and take a look. As far as she was concerned, the firehouse
that
and everything in
looks
it
like a
was
US
hers.
license
Now,
plate.
his.
And a U.S. car since he's on the left
Building
side.
was run down, yet the foundations were stable enough to keep the roof from caving in. The further in the four friends ventured, the more assorted the
Oh,
objects
the female
became.
heavy.
At first, cabinets and
Or is it
racks
the
of
female
clothes
engineer? I don't
lined the
remember.
walls. Upstairs, light
That's
fixtures,
easier.
lawn ornaments, and various clocks and knickknacks were stacked.
Okay.
Curiosity drew them to the basement,
Whoa.
where they found
Okay.
the most
Burn it,
alien
burn it,
artifacts
burn it,
yet.
burn it.
Statues
no,
and
never,
trophies,
no.
pottery,
Shush.
and scrolls filled with strange writing.
What the
Jewelry,
hell? Who the hell were they
paintings,
renting this shit to?
even some kind of crypt.
It's me.
Looks like some
Whilst
creepy
inspecting the
Egyptian
curious
home.
items, all were startled by the cry of Marcus in the far corner. He had discovered a dusty old mannequin, or so he'd thought.
What was he doing?
Upon further investigation, it appeared to be some
Sarah,
kind
why
of
is your hand down
life-size
there?
doll, but
Get-
even more
get away from
unusual
there,
than
you
that.
creep.
Its face was made
Jesus.
of china, with the expression of mania, chipped and broken down its left side. But the rest of its limbs were
That's
made
too
of differing
convenient.
materials and design.
Huh.
Yeah.
There were three others behind a shawl. One leaning against the wall with an ambivalent expression, a third wedged tightly in the corner concealing its terror-filled demeanor, and the
Don't
last
blink.
face down on the floor with a
Yep.
face of rage, staring deep into the depths of the earth.
It has no face.
Each
No
one differed
face.
from the other in terms of design, except of course for the china faces. It was clear as to why Marcus screamed in fright. The dolls were quite unnerving, and to
No
have any
shit.
one fall on you would have made anyone jump. James, Emily, and Trisha agreed that they would be perfect additions to the Halloween bash they were also planning on campus, even if they wouldn't
Oh,
fit in with
no.
the tone of the film. They were perfectly freaky to pass up. Marcus agreed, under protest, as well as under the condition they be
Under
kept
protest.
at James's house. Since
Yeah,
there wasn't
don't
enough
keep
room
this shit
at
at my
James's,
house.
he only kept one.
Bad idea. Very
Trisha
bad.
also agreed to keep one. Marcus, reluctantly, kept two in his basement under lock and key.
Oh,
They spent the next 2 days
those.
filming scenes of their short film in the Forest Reserve, several hours' drive from home. The parents of all students as well were on holidays of their own.
That's pretty much
However,
me during film
Reports
class in
from
high
neighbors
school.
of each stated that they were unaware they had departed, as signs of life were glimpsed throughout the day. At the Young residence, witnesses reported brief sightings of someone moving past the windows, and one neighbor felt eyes staring at them as they jogged by.
Oh,
The neighbors
shit.
of Trisha George would later report loud moaning and wailing coming from the bedroom, and assumed she was in a
Bedroom?
emotional
I
time.
think we all know what's
Yet,
going on.
upon
there.
attempting to make
Moaning and
contact with
wailing from the
Trisha,
bedroom.
the noises would stop, and no one would answer.
I actually
Finally,
used
in
to
the late
work at a
hours of the
hotel
evening,
and I heard
one
that.
neighbor of Marcus Drake awoke to the sound of loud banging and
Oh,
yelling
makes
coming from
sense.
his neighbor's house, and assumed the young man was watching television or playing video games loudly. The noises slowly died down over the course of several hours, and the neighbor went back to sleep, disgruntled at the police for not responding to his 911 call.
Oh, jeez.
When the group
Ah,
arrived back
typical.
into town, however,
Yeah.
they did find it strange that no one commented on their absence. The evening of Saturday the 18th, they gathered at
The
Marcus's
way they have
to
the
wind
female
down
scout,
after
though,
a
with her
busy few
head
days.
leaning forward like that is kind
They'd
of
been
weird.
somewhat productive and covered a lot of the shots
Almost make her look like a
required for the
hunchback or
outdoor
something.
scenes. They relaxed
Hunchback
over
of
making
Notre
future
Dame,
plans to
anyone?
film, with
Or-
Marcus making jokes in character, and James and Emily remarking to themselves that they might spend an extra night out alone to enjoy the sanctuary the woods offered. After a few hours, the four acquired more alcohol and sent Marcus, as host, to fetch more from the downstairs fridge.
The way he's walking.
Upon returning,
Yeah.
he remarked
I
on the
told you, I
strange
know
scrapings
walking
he'd
animation
seen
is
on the
hard,
door.
man. I know that.
When asked if he'd been robbed and if anything was missing from the
Animation's
house,
decent. It could just
Marcus
use a bit
shook
more
his
polish.
head and
So-
added that the
Yeah.
marks had been made from inside the basement. Over the course of the next week,
Uh-huh.
strange
The
and
ones in the
unusual
basement
events
couldn't
surrounding
get
the
out.
friends slowly began to mount, building to a head. The details are scattered, mostly from word of mouth between several of the victims to the survivors of the horrors to come.
Oh, God.
Here is what we know. The four students spent their time separated, relaxing before their next big outing. A week or two of saving and gathering supplies was all they required. James and Emily were spending more and more time at his house. Their relationship was becoming more serious, and the pair were celebrating their growing love in the usual way
James
young
looks
adults
so
do.
much older than
And when Emily
Exactly.
left for work or returned to her house,
Ah,
James felt especially alone. But now, that loneliness had taken on a new element.
Oh, God.
Isolation.
Oh.
It was no longer sadness at her absence, but the unshakable, frightening feeling that a presence now watched his every move.
Oh, shit.
He was always on edge, and it was easy to pinpoint why. One morning, after Emily left, James had retired to his room to watch a movie. Upon entering, he saw that the closet door was open, and the doll had toppled out. This
Oh,
wasn't
shit.
particularly unusual,
Hell no.
until he
Run.
noticed that it was
Oh,
wearing
no.
one of Emily's sweaters.
run.
He shook off the silly
Yeah.
notion in his mind, removed the item of clothing, and propped mania,
Run.
as they called it, back into
Burn
the
the fucking
closet.
house down and run. That's what I'd do.
But these encounters
Exactly.
went to end, and they only escalated from here. Sometimes,
Yeah.
James would catch it sitting at his work desk.
The fuck?
Other times,
What?
he would wake up at night to what he believed was heavy breathing.
Oh, shit. What the
Will he
fuck?
Concerned
be
him
able to
most
sleep?
was how Mania would be wearing an item of Emily's clothing almost every time, prompting him to confront her. She refused all accusations due to the lack of evidence of her involvement. Even so, James was left uneasy, and it certainly
Get
took a
rid
toll
of the
on their
damn thing.
relationship.
Feed it to
On
a
the
wood
afternoon of the
chipper.
24th of June, James and
Yeah,
Marcus
burn
met
it.
up at Marcus's home.
Yeah.
While there, James mentioned the strange events at his house surrounding the doll they had brought back from the firehouse. The stress of feeling like he was being watched, the clothes, the breathing,
Oh, dude, the lips
it all
are moving
came
with the
pouring out.
narrator. That's cool.
And when he was done, James expected to be met with apprehension, criticism from his friend. But that never came.
He's like, no, I believe you, bro.
Marcus,
These things are
instead,
creepy as fuck.
regarded his friend with an air of understanding. And that scared him more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was then that Marcus began recounting his own horrific ordeals during the course of the week. Marcus, it appeared, hadn't slept for days, because every night he would hear noises from inside the basement. He would stand at the top of the staircase
Okay.
and stare down, a baseball bat in hand, waiting for something to break the door down. He dared not enter. He was far too afraid for that.
Just
During the day,
bust the fucking
Marcus
things.
felt like he could rest,
How much longer until the video
but then he
ends?
would hear more noises.
A while? Why?
This
Long
time,
video.
from within the house
I was
itself.
wondering because my girl.
He would
Ah,
search every
no.
room, only to
Bros
discover missing
before hoes.
items, pens, picture frames, cutlery, discontinued for
Dude.
a day or two. until he started finding tiny figures
kinda fun.
hidden
Oh.
around the house.
What the
Oh,
f-
no.
Oh god, they're
No,
multiplying.
No, the second they introduce baby
Made from
dolls, you
stolen
run the fuck
materials.
away.
No, 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 no,
To
no,
discover
no,
the
no, no,
identity
no,
of who
no,
had been
so
doing
much no.
this, Marcus decided he would wait until the next
You just
encounter.
tactically fucking carpet
Yesterday,
bomb the house.
He
No.
found
Yeah.
his opportunity.
Tactically carpet bomb the
He heard a
house.
clatter from the kitchen and ran to investigate.
It's the only way to
Marcus
be sure.
caught a glimpse
Yeah.
of a shadow fleeing through the rooms and pursued it
No.
until he arrived
That's
at the
nice.
basement.
Oh fuck that.
Tentatively, Marcus approached the door and found it unlocked. Whoever had done this did it from the inside. Marcus entered the basement and searched around. The light wasn't working, so he left the door propped open to let some light in.
Oh fuck that, I ain't going down
The room
there.
was silent and still, the air stale. And yet, he sensed a presence.
Is that
Upon
Pokemon?
deciding to leave, Marcus fell over onto the floor. Dazed, it took him a moment to regain his senses, but in that time, he could swear he heard two things. One was footsteps. The second, and more disturbing sound, was a loud, guttural yell of anger. In the seconds it took Marcus to turn around, he heard a crash and saw the two dolls, Rage and Ambivalence, frozen on the floor in a deadlock. Marcus fled and barricaded the basement door
they don't move
with
when you
more
look
than
at
just
them.
a lock.
So it's
Sure
like
enough, when James
SCP-173,
investigated,
but even more
planks of
terrifying.
wood were nailed to the door. It was
No,
clear
it's more
what they
like the
needed to do.
weeping angel from Doctor.
Marcus went
Yeah,
to the
there
garage
you go,
and
man,
grabbed
right
a canister of kerosene, returning to James, who had just finished
There you
unbarricading
go,
the
man.
door.
Burn it all.
They were going to find the dolls and burn them.
Yes, thank you.
They entered cautiously, keeping
burn
their
the
eyes
entire
glued to
house,
the
don't even-
darkness surrounding them.
Go ahead.
Jesus.
The torch was only so
Okay,
good at conjuring light.
I'm back.
Dark shapes looming from the blackness. They came to the rack they used to store their costumes, and noticed that one of the hangers was empty. It was Marcus's detective clothes.
Oh shit.
The creaking to their side drew their attention, and there, sitting on a stool, wearing the trench coat and hat, was the doll of Ambivalence,
Oh fuck that,
staring
man.
at them.
Mm.
Ever so
Burn it,
slowly,
please.
it raised its
Please.
arm and gestured the boys to remain quiet.
Oh shit.
But Marcus was shaking so much that he dropped the canister of kerosene, echoing loudly throughout the basement.
What have you done?
That's
Oh,
when they
no.
heard the howl. Suddenly, the pair were knocked to the floor, causing James to drop his torch. It shattered nearby the pooling kerosene and ignited it.
Oh
Rage
shit.
towered before them, and metallically snarled like a wild animal. It leapt at them, but was grabbed by its brother. Ambivalence waved them away, and both Marcus and James ascended the stairs into the house.
Trying to save them.
Before the two
Yeah.
could catch their
Yeah.
breath, Ambivalence was launched through the doorway and crashed into the
No.
living room.
Ow.
Rage tore past them, flames dancing on its body, and fought with its brother. James and Marcus fled the house.
Run
and
for your
watched
life.
as it went up in flames.
Run.
And there you go.
Police recovered James and Tricia from the scene and took them in for questioning. Their statements were taken, and they were to be charged with 2 counts of murder, given the incredulity of their story. Agents from our institute took over the investigation, suppressed it, and removed all evidence of the event having taken place.
The SCP
James
Foundation.
and Tricia gave their final statements on the matter before being humanely euthanized.
What the fuck?
What?
Parents
What?
of all 4 students were told their children died in a fatal car accident that night.
That's it?
There have been small traces as to the whereabouts of the doll-like creatures cropping up across America. Resources are, however, stretched thin enough amongst our facilities to properly investigate the matter. Given long enough, however, it is feared one, if not all, could properly infiltrate its way into society and become almost indistinguishable from a regular person. Caution is advised. They know of us now, and they may kill when threatened by our presence. Designated Class Euclid.
Class Euclid is the
These
SCP
proceedings are
Foundation.
closed.
CP Foundation.
Yeah.
Oh,
So they
God.
killed the ladies, and those guys were brought in for questioning, and then they euthanized them. What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
That sucks
Oh
to be
my.
them.
Yeah.
Because they got too close to the
Okay.
foundation.
I would have fucking torched that shit long before then, though.
Yeah, I'll probably have to chop those up like wood that they are.
Yep.
Probably
Anyway.
less than those two ever heard.
Anywho.
Exactly.
All right. So that was efficiently creepy. Very
Yeah, I
nice.
just have to bail out a bit before coming back.
Yeah, he got Carter actually got a little bit too spooked by that. He got a little bit overly spooked.
Yeah, thankfully I had a perfect distraction for that.
Anyway, I do hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed these series of videos. Let me know in the comments below whether you like it with the guys here. And
Yep.
of course, link to my Discord server is in the description, so check that out. Isn't really a lot there right now, but you know, it's just something. Everybody's been wanting me to get a Discord server, so there you go.
Make
Yep.
it popular.
Yep, and like the video and all that. And see if maybe comment down below suggestions for group reactions if possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make the server worth the investment. Don't just make it a pointless endeavor that will delete in 2 months.
Well, considering it's free, it's not much of a monetary investment, but it is an investment of time.
of
Yep.
time, I
Yeah.
meant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will see you guys next time. And tune in every day for new content, and bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, hello.
Bye.